Today, we will learn about phase changes. Our essential question for the day is how are thermal energy, particle motion, and state of substance related? Before we begin, we need to know some vocabulary. Kinetic energy is the energy of an object due to motion. The word kinetic stems from the Greek word for motion. Let's think about topic question 1. What is kinetic molecular theory? The kinetic molecular theory is the theory that all matter is made up of particles that are always moving. These particles hold kinetic energy and move around in random directions. At higher temperatures, these particles have a lot of energy, so it will move fast. At lower temperatures, these particles have less energy, so they move less fast. The more energy a particle has, the faster it will move. Now, pause the video and watch the kinetic molecular theory animation. After watching the video clip, draw a cartoon of solids, liquids, and gas particles in the box. Now, let's consider topic question 2. What is thermal energy? Thermal energy, or heat energy, is the overall energy of a system, just like we learned before. But now we need to know a little bit more about it. Thermal energy depends on the type of particles in the system, the total number of particles in the system, and how fast the particles are moving, or their temperature. So basically, even if two substances are at the same temperature, one might require more energy for it to heat up than another. The total number of particles in a system changes the amount of heat that the system has, because more particles means more energy overall. Before, we said kinetic energy was the energy of motion, and it increased as the speed increased. Similarly, thermal energy also increases as the speed increases. The difference is that before we were talking about a macroscopic or big scale, and now we're talking about a microscopic or small scale motion. Now let's consider an ice cube. If you have an ice cube and you heat it up, what happens? Well, it melts and turns into water. Similarly, if we wanted to take water and turn it into ice, we would need to freeze it or decrease the temperature. This happens because increasing or decreasing thermal energy can change the state of matter of a substance. Speaking of states of matter, let's move on to topic question 3. How does energy relate to the states of matter? If you look at this energy diagram, you will see that at the top is plasma. This means that plasma is the highest energy state on the diagram. Below that is gases, then liquids, then solids, then something called the Bose-Einstein condensate. Then it's absolute zero. Let's first look at the states of matter you should be familiar with from elementary school. Make sure after we discuss each state of matter, you go through and draw what the particle motion would look like if you zoomed in on a substance in that state of matter in the little windows. In solids like ice, the particles barely move at all. They just kind of shiver or vibrate in place. And they hold a regular pattern because the energy is low and the particles are tightly packed. They don't have the space to move. So, what happens when you add a little bit of thermal energy to a solid? Well, it becomes a liquid. And liquids, such as water, have particles that have more energy, which gives them the freedom to move around some. Liquids can move so they can flow and take the shape of the container they are put in. If you add even more thermal energy, you will go from a liquid to a gas. And in gases like steam, water vapor, the particles have a whole lot of energy. These particles have so much energy, they're bouncing all around, and they're super far apart from each other. Because of this, the particles are sparse and move around freely. Gases are usually invisible to the eye and can be expanded and compressed at different pressures because of all the empty space between particles. Now, let's add even more energy and see what happens. Well, you get plasma, the fourth state of matter. Plasma is a substance that makes up the sun and the stars. It's super high energy, charged gas particles, and they collide very violently. Now, you might not have heard of this before, but the Bose-Einstein condensate is considered the fifth state of matter. Unlike plasma, which is very high energy, the Bose-Einstein condensate is a very low energy, low density gas. Because it's so low energy, it's very cold. Matter in this state has both superfluidity and superconductivity. Superfluidity means that there's no viscosity, and the liquid will flow without losing any kinetic energy. Superconductivity is what happens when the electrical resistance vanishes. When this happens, the material becomes a superconductor. Lastly, let's look at absolute zero. Well, absolute zero is the temperature of zero on the Kelvin scale. Remember, the Kelvin scale is the Celsius scale plus 273 degrees. At absolute zero, the motion of particles would theoretically stop completely. We say theoretically because although scientists have come very close to reaching absolute zero, they've never actually achieved it in a lab. Now let's look at topic question 4. What are phase changes? Well, phase changes are what happens when the substance changes from one state of matter to another because of either the addition or removal of thermal energy. Basically, you heat something up or cool it down to the point that the particles start acting differently. This is a really good graphic for phase changes. Make sure you label the graphic in your notes. After you label the phase changes, make sure to make a color key for which ones are adding thermal energy and which ones are removing thermal energy. Color the arrows to show which direction the energy moves in order for a phase change to occur. Now, let's consider what happens when you start with a solid substance and add enough thermal energy for it to turn into a liquid. This phase change is called melting. The reverse process, where you take a liquid substance and remove heat energy until it turns back into a solid, is called freezing. What else can you do with a solid? Well, if you add a lot of heat energy at once, or if the pressure is right, you can actually go from a solid to a gas. This is called sublimation. Dry ice is an example of sublimation. That's what makes a lot of those fog effects in like plays and movies. The opposite process, going from a gas and removing energy to become a solid, is called deposition. This is what happens when frost forms on the car windshield on a really cold day. If you have a liquid and you add heat energy to it, it will vaporize to become a gas. There are two types of vaporization: evaporation, which occurs naturally even if you don't add an external heat source, and boiling, which requires you to purposefully heat the substance up. The opposite of vaporization is called condensation. Condensation occurs when you remove thermal energy from a gas to make a liquid. Droplets of water on the inside of a window is an example of condensation. Another one would be if you have a really cold drink and water forms on the outside of the glass. Finally, let's look at plasma. In order to form plasma, a gas must be ionized. This is typically done by running an electric current through the gas to make plasma. If you deionize plasma or take the charge away, then it goes back to being gas. Double check your graphic and make sure all the red arrows on my graphic are colored the same color on your graphic. It does not have to be red, but they all have to be the same color. You also need to make sure all the ones with the purple arrow are a different same color on your graphic. Make sure you know which ones are adding energy and which ones are taking away heat energy. Now you are ready to do the sum it up questions. You can do the final topic, heating curves, after the sum it up questions. Now, let's look at topic question number 5. How does the transfer of energy and the temperature of a substance during a phase change look on a graph? These graphs are called heating curves. They show the relationship between thermal energy and temperature during phase changes. This graph says that at low temperature and low energy, you have a solid. That's the state of matter. Then what happens is you get all this energy in your solid, and then your solid starts melting. The temperature does not change when the solid is melting because all the energy is going to changing the state. And then you have liquid at C, and you start heating it up, so the liquid starts increasing its temperature until it reaches the boiling point and vaporizes, at which point, once again, all the energy is going to changing the state, so the temperature does not change. And then you end up at gas. If you start with a gas and remove energy, something similar happens. The temperature decreases until you reach the temperature at which sublimation occurs. And during the sublimation process, there is no change in temperature, even though thermal energy is being taken away. This is because all of the energy taken away is contributing to the change of state. Now, once you reach D, you are fully liquid, and the temperature starts dropping again until it reaches the freezing point at C and starts freezing. Once you get to B, the temperature, you are fully solid, so the temperature starts dropping again. Now, make sure you label each state of matter. Color the warming arrows red and the cooling arrows purple. Make sure you write the names of the cooling phase changes above the temperature plateaus and write the warming phase changes below the plateaus. So all the ones I said where it was cooling off, where it was taking away the thermal energy, make sure those are the above the temperature plateau and give their names. And then for the warming ones, make sure you put those below the plateau or the flat space. Pause the video and try this on your own. Here is what a completed diagram should look like.